Well, hey, what's up and good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. Hey, coming live to you from Miami, Florida tonight. We just got to our room. Like literally, like at 8 p.m. we got to the hotel and ready for a good night. My internet is unstable, which is unfortunate because there's really good internet, really good upload speed, but for some reason the internet connection is really unstable. And so I hope this stream doesn't have too many glitches, but I'm so glad that you guys are tuning in today. Do me a favor, if you don't mind, hit the like button on the video. That shoots us out into the YouTube algorithm. And by the way, let me know, where are you tuning in from? Can you guys hear me okay? Where are you tuning in from today? I seen somebody say Melbourne, Australia. Hey, Susanna. Great to have you. Real Talk with Retta from St. Louis, Kearney, Missouri in the house. Michigan here. North Carolina here. Ottawa, Canada. Great to have you guys. Jennifer Rochelle, thank you for being such a great mod from St. Louis, Maryland. Great to see you guys. Texas, Florida, DC, Vegas. Yes, I love Vegas. I love the gifts. I love the Golden Knights. That was so kind. North Georgia, Ringgold, Georgia, Phoenix, Arizona. Shout out from Oregon, upstate New York, Wisconsin, South Dakota. Hey, from Connecticut. Great to have you guys with us. South Carolina, Tennessee, Hot Springs, Arkansas, Godfrey, Ontario. Another thing that you guys can do that's really helpful, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, subscribe to this channel, and then share this link. If you don't mind, share it if you're in a part of a Facebook group. If you have Twitter, share it on Twitter. It is so helpful and fun to get people literally joining from all over the place, having great conversations. Minneapolis, Colorado, Vegas, Paris, Texas, Indiana, Cape Coral, Florida, San Diego. It's my first Florida stream. Clearwater Beach. I am in Florida right now. Can you believe it? Can you tell by the artwork on the wall right here? I feel like that's very Florida artwork, Florida-esque artwork. Maybe some driftwood. So, you know, South Florida. Audrey, that's where I'm at right now. South Florida. Monique, Illinois. Lakewood, Ohio. Great to have you guys. Just super excited. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I think my video is probably glitching quite a bit, which is going to be a big bummer tonight. But hopefully when other people call in, it's going to be okay. Terry's still in Australia. Well, I wanted to shout you guys out because so far on this petition with Jason Landry, we have 372 people who have signed. Thank you guys so much. Those of you who've signed this petition and those of you who've retweeted my Twitter page about it, it means a whole lot that you guys would be willing to do that. And we started at 0 yesterday. Jen B made this petition and sent it out to us. And then literally we are all the way up to 372. And so if you guys don't mind, do me a favor and sign that petition. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Also hit the like button if you haven't. And I want to talk, and to me, it's important that we talk about this Travis Scott case for a couple of reasons. And I was just having a conversation with somebody a little bit before the stream began, and I am extremely disheartened in the fact that we have allowed somebody to sort of work his way into 1,000 different facets of popular culture. To me, it's incredibly heartbreaking that we would allow somebody who clearly has some issues that to me seem totally counterintuitive to the basic morals of a wide variety of people. And that includes me, that includes many of you listening. And not only are we allowing it to infiltrate sort of modern culture where we are at, we're allowing it to enter the culture that exists with our children too. And that's even more heartbreaking, that we would allow our children to be influenced by Travis Scott and what he promotes. And so some of the reason people are saying, why we still talk about this issue, doesn't it seem like an old issue? To me, it's not an old issue. until this guy is somewhat taken away from the public eye. It's not acceptable how he influences children. Actually the number one most popular video game that I know of that students play, called Fortnite. Travis Scott was right in the middle of Fortnite, in the sense that he had a concert where millions tuned into it. And then he had his own skin on there, which is a big part of the game. And so kids are sort of conditioned to want to have Travis Scott as an idol. And to me, that's just incredibly wrong. If they put him on Reese's Puffs or whatever, like Travis Scott's Reese's Puffs, again, I don't know very many adults that eat Reese's Puffs, but I certainly know a lot of kids that do. We're allowing somebody that should not be at the forefront of our culture, be at the forefront of the culture. Heidi says it's really frightening. I couldn't agree more. It's extremely frightening. Okay, it's extremely frightening. And Juju's saying, weird, my kid plays Fortnite but never asked for the Travis skin. There's one day on Fortnite where they shut down the entire game. Literally nobody could even play the game. And what they did on that particular day of Fortnite was, it was a Travis Scott concert. And so all the kids from around the world whose parents think they're in there talking to their friends or whatever they're doing on Fortnite are actually watching a Travis Scott concert. Millions and millions of people tuned in. It was like a virtual concert. That's heartbreaking to me. And it's totally unacceptable that we would have that happen to our children. Okay. So part of the reason that we're turning the needle up on this and continue to talk about it is because, to me, it's a really big deal that until there's some sort of after effects from this, we've got to keep the iron hot on it. And so here's an article that came out today. It says, gross negligence. Travis Scott and Drake are named in a $750 million lawsuit who were brought on by the victims of the Astroworld Festival. Travis Scott and Drake are among those who are named in this lawsuit on Tuesday from a Houston lawyer. Out of 125 Astroworld victims, including the family of one man who died. Axel Acosta, 21, was one of 10 concertgoers who died from injuries sustained during Scott's performance when the crowd surged towards the stage. In a statement to People on Tuesday, a member of attorney Tony Busby's legal team said Acosta's death was needless and the result of gross negligence. Do you guys agree with that? That it is due to gross negligence that this took place? In the complaint obtained by People, Busby alleges that Acosta went into cardiac arrest from being crushed in the crowd. Terrible. When Axel collapsed, he was trampled by those fighting to prevent themselves from being crushed as he lay there under a mass of humanity dying. The music played and streamed on for almost 40 minutes. The statement added that the law firm intends to file another lawsuit with another 100 named plaintiffs. And that's according to Yahoo coming out with that story today. It's awful, it's tragic, and it shouldn't be happening. And in my opinion, listen, we have a responsibility to continue to talk about it until something changes, until he's officially, I don't even know how people get canceled, until there's some actual sort of, reparations of some type that take place, in the sense that he needs to be taking care of these families in a greater way. And he needs to, in my opinion, have some kind of a ban on what he's allowed to do from a performance. So what do you guys think? How are you feeling about this? Mary says, so sad, selfish, and sick. Amy says, marketing this event to kids, wondering if there may be an issue with some of these manufacturers. That's what I'm wondering. Like, I understand this guy was good at marketing, so he might be good for the bottom dollar, but he's not good for spirit, and he's not good for culture, yet we promote it. Avery says, totally agree. He needs to be gone. And so I don't know. For me, listen, for me to make that statement, it's a really big statement, because I don't say it lightly. I have been very kind, I feel like, in some of the approach that I've made towards him in this conversation that we've been having, because I want to remain, in a position where I would be able to, if the time comes ever, have an influence from a perspective of a pastor to be able to pray for him and minister to him. And so I've been very careful. But the more that I think about the incredible level of children that are influenced by him, the more righteous anger, that's what I would call it, a righteous anger coming from a holy place. We need to come after this together. So what do you guys think? I want to know what you think. Actually, I'm going to put the link if you guys want to call in. I got a couple other things I want to talk about, but I want to hear specifically, what are you guys thinking about this particular situation? By the way, shout out to all the people who are part of the Feller fam today. Thank you so much for just being a part of our team here. And I love seeing those little flags next to your name, the red flags, but I love now getting to see some of those red flags turn into purple flags. And it just blows me away that we have people that want to, participate in this community in a meaningful way and really, envision this as a source of not just, it's not about news. It's not about like that. It is a little bit about news, but it's actually a place where people can come together and belong with one another. And that's really just unbelievable to me that we've been able to cultivate that together. So I just want to say thank you for doing that. Thank you for being a part of that with us here. And I don't know. I love you, Feller fam. Thank you guys. And you were so good to me for my release party that I had yesterday, the Don't Stop release party. That was great. Thank you guys for supporting me. And some of you said you were going to leave a review for the Don't Stop book. I don't know if they're having issues load because we have 11 now, and I feel like we should be having more than that. So I don't really know what happened. But, maybe nothing happened, or maybe they're taking a long time. A couple people messaged me and said it was taking a long time for them to get approved. And so I would encourage you, if you're going to write one, write it and copy and paste it into it, because I think some of them are getting lost, and I don't want you to have to type the same thing a million times. But I don't know why some of them are getting lost either. It's confusing to me. So anyways, Simple NV says the reviews take a few days to load. That's good to know. Some reviews haven't taken a few days. They've literally taken like minutes to load on some people. So I don't know what somebody said. It depends on how much money that person has spent on Amazon that month, if it works or not. So I don't know for sure. Last time I checked, which was earlier today, there were 11 ratings. Yeah, I just checked just now. Still 11 ratings, but that's okay. That's a good number, and I appreciate you guys doing that. Sin70 says he also called be charged with intent of bodily harm. Could be charged with intent of bodily harm, possibly 5 years in prison. Now, if that happens, that would be a good thing. I would like for that to happen, just in the sense that he's the headliner. It's his name on the bill. It was his Astroworld Festival. He's the one who marketed it. If it was a giant success, he would be the one who took all the honor or glory from it or whatever. He's the one who should be held most responsible in this situation. And so I do think if somebody ends up serving some level of a prison sentence, it needs to be him, and it needs to be something substantial. Hey, Shelly, how are you? Are you there, Shelly? Susan Taylor says, I'm not usually for canceling someone, but Travis...
Hi, Tyler. I'm sorry I can't hear anything. Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I have something wrong. I apologize. Let me see if I can get this fixed.
I'm going to remove her for just a minute and allow her to get that fixed, and I'll click back on her in just a second. But I'm with Susan. I'm not usually for canceling somebody, but in this situation, I'm thinking maybe we need to do that. Could be someone who needs to do that. Maureen says, you have a misspelling on the fourth paragraph. It's incredibly difficult to write a book without any mistakes. And we went through about 7 rounds of edits on that thing, and it took 4 months. So there's going to be, I think every book's probably going to have some mistakes, but thank you for pointing it out. There's nothing I can do now. It's out there for the world. Kathy says, Tyler, I wrote my review of your book today. I did write it and paste it in. I submitted it and got something that said it could take up to 2 days to view. Okay, good to know. So maybe some people it's taking a little bit longer than other people. That's fine. Kim says, hey, everyone, I won't be around much, working on a big project. I'll be here and there. Okay, good to know. Thank you, Kim, for being around at all. We love you around here, for sure. Sin70 says, sorry for the typo, my review about an hour to post. Yeah, it's okay, Sin70. Thank you, though. Debbie says he should be banned from ever putting out music again. Couldn't agree more, really. I don't know how you do that. Are you allowed to do that? He should be banned from being able to influence children ever again, from my perspective. So that's the way I think about it. That's how I feel about it. I don't want him having influence over the kids in my life that I care about, for sure. Just a bad thing. Joan says, Tyler, I signed and shared the petition. Thank you so much. When I look at that petition, it blows my mind what's happened from it. You guys have done such a great job on getting the word out about that and really sharing it with other people. And just unbelievable. When I checked the petition, we have 588 people who've signed the petition now. It is taken off like crazy. Hey, Shelly, how are you? I think Shelly's having some connection issues. Jean says parents have to parent. I agree. Kim says editing is so hard. I could not agree more. It's my least thing. I'm really terrible about it. I'm terrible about it in seminary. I'm terrible about it, as an author. When I read it, I'm like, dang it, mistake there. Dang it, mistake there. And then just even little subtle wording choices. Debbie says, I got my book from Amazon today. Wow. I've never even seen a real physical copy of the book because of the glitch that I'm telling you guys that's happened. And I was supposed to have it months ago. So to my knowledge, you're the first person that's ever held a real physical copy of it. I really want to see it. Can you send me a picture? I haven't even seen a picture of a real physical copy of my own book because of the glitch that happened. And now I'm on a trip. So the one that I ordered that's going to my house to be there tomorrow, I'm not going to get. So then I ordered one and had it sent to Miami. And I'm like, I hope they get it at the hotel front desk. I don't know how that stuff works. Lisa says, I don't condone any violence. He was under attack. There is self-defense, but it's also sketchy. Half the time they were yawning how tiring. The bottom line is he did use a gun. Okay. You're talking about the court case. So Deb says, I'm an editor. It can be tough to catch everything. Yeah, it's tough for me for sure, because I'm much better at like the 30,000 foot view than I am at diving deep into all of the details. Okay, so let's shift gears into what's already being brought up in the conversation a little bit, which is I've been saying this for a couple days now. I believe for a long time that the situation with Rittenhouse is going to end in a mistrial. And so essentially, I think that's what's happening. I hope this video streams okay.
In the Kyle Rittenhouse case to declare a mistrial. Rittenhouse's lawyers took issue with the prosecutor questioning him about his silence following the arrest, arguing Rittenhouse was protected under the Fifth Amendment. And they also said the prosecutor was acting in, quote, bad faith. So Nancy Entin is with me now from the courthouse in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Thank you so much for joining us. Nancy, I know that I was caught off guard twice while watching the testimony yesterday. First by Rittenhouse and the level of emotion he displayed, and then later on how sort of businesslike he was in terms of his testimony, but then also how angry the judge got at the prosecution several times. So let's talk about this. What more can you tell us about the defense's request for mistrial?
And to that point, by the way, good morning to you, Anne Marie. Absolutely. It was a very riveting day in court yesterday. Plenty of emotional moments throughout the day as Rittenhouse took the stand for the first time. And as you talk about this request for a mistrial, of course, not just a request for a mistrial, but a mistrial with prejudice. The defense making that request based on the prosecution's line of questioning of Rittenhouse. Now, the judge still has yet to make a decision on that request from the defense. But if that is granted, this trial would be over and Rittenhouse could not be charged again in this state.
So the other shocking thing was the fact that Rittenhouse testified at all, because it's very infrequent that you see someone who's facing murder charges testify in their own defense. How did the jury react to Rittenhouse's testimony?
This was a moment that a lot of us weren't sure necessarily if he would testify or not. There was a lot of questioning whether or not the defense would call Rittenhouse to the stand. As you mentioned, this could be, many legal experts say, a risky decision when the defense does call the person at the center of all of this. But certainly an emotional testimony, and jurors were paid attention to all of it.
What do you guys think about that? What do you think about his emotional testimony that he gave? Do you think it's going to sway the jury in a certain way? By the way, Shelly says, I'm sorry about that. I'm having issues with my sound. Please forgive me. My thoughts are, the tragedy are that it awakens our country to these ongoing problems. That's my prayer, Shelly. Thank you for that super chat. My prayer is that what's happened with Travis Scott, it awakens us to realize there's evil at work in the world today, and we need to stand against it. If we don't stand against it, nobody will. Come on, feller fam, that's on us. That's on us. We've got to stand against evil in the world, and praise God, we got people that are going to be willing to do that. Marissa says, hey, Tyler, I like the anti-Instagrammer. That put awesome imagery in my head. Well, thank you so much, Marissa, for that super chat, and I like the way that you're thinking. She's talking about one of the chapters in my book. I go into Paul, the anti-Instagrammer. Debbie, how are you?
Hey, I just had to show you my book.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm so excited about it. It is really, it feels really good. I don't know what they put on the front, but it feels super.
Hold it up so I can take a screenshot. I requested them to make it feel really good on the outside. That was one of my major requests.
Well, I'm a texture person, so it was really cool when I put,
yes,
it feels so good.
that was by special request of me, because it was a really big thing. So thank you, Debbie, for calling in and showing me that. Let me see the back of it. Show me the back of it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
See.
That's amazing.
And look, oh, there he is.
There I am.
That's such a good picture of you, though. That really is.
My friend took that picture. That's so good. Thank you for showing me that.
You're welcome. All right. Keep on keeping on.
Thank you, and Debbie.
I will tell you that with this, the whole thing just, what's his name? I just went blank. I'm really, really tired tonight. But
Travis Scott.
Thank you. What I found, the one thing that I have, as I'm listening to these newscasts and different people talking about it, everybody is talking about the demonic, not just Christians that are talking about it.
That's what got me. It's not just Christians. It's like people who say we don't talk about religion are saying the only way we can describe this is demonic. That's a big deal. We as believers, if you're a believer, and not everybody who watches this channel is a believer, and that's okay. But if you are a believer in this channel, use that as an opportunity to say, yes, you are right. And if that's demonic, it means there's another side to that, and that stuff's real. Let's go after it. So
that's it. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, Debbie. Kim, we've missed you around these parts. It's good to see you.
I've been here. I've just been in the chat. How are you doing?
Seeing you in the chat. I'm doing well. Just got to Miami. Been traveling all day. And glad to be on the stream. And the internet's unstable in hotels, but right now it's showing as stable, so that's good.
Yeah, it looks pretty clear. It wasn't clear at first, but now you're pretty clear.
I hope the sound is at least clear. So anyways, what are your thoughts about some of the stuff that we're talking about today?
Oh, heavens. So first, I wanted to tell everybody that Dante did post in the Feller Fam Facebook, and he said he's just been busy at work, so he's okay. I know when I said I was worried about him, a lot of other people commented the same, and so he is okay and said he will be back soon. So hey, that's good to know. Okay, so Travis Scott, I heard an interesting interview today. I listen to YouTube a lot while I'm working in my headphones, especially if I'm in the office. I can't watch it, but I can listen to it. And I heard 2 interviews today with people that were there at the concert. One of the girls was, I think she was about 17 years old. She's Latina, and she said that this like totally transformed her feelings about religion, because she said the same thing. She said that she felt like the frequencies that were playing, she's been to several Travis Scott concerts. She's been a fan, But she said what she went through and what she saw happen totally transformed the way she views religion, because she said she definitely felt it was demonic, specifically the frequencies. She said the frequencies being used were very, I can't remember the word she used to describe them, but she was basically saying that it was just real, aggressive, made her feel sad. She said that it was definitely to entice a feeling, or did entice a feeling.
It was intentional.
Yes, she felt like it was. And she felt like this was a difference from other concerts of his she had been to in the past. And so she went on to explain her story. And I'll send you later the link, and we can put it in the fellow family or whatever, of the young woman that was interviewing them, because it was very clean. There was no profanity. So it was very good. But then the other girl was a little bit older. So the 17-year-old said that, she talked about some of the more traumatic events, but the other girl who was interviewed was a little bit older, said the exact same thing. She also said that she had been struggling with her faith for the last 2 years. She said she's deleted all of Travis Scott's music, all of the rap music that was similar, because she said it was eye-opening for her. Now, she went a little step further, and she said that that there were two categories of people that were shocked by what was going on, were saddened, were freaking out. But she said this other category of people, and she said it was not ethnicity based. It was not skin color based. She said it was a broad mix, but almost seemed like zombie-ish, like the music had put them in a trance of some kind. And they didn't care who was hurt. They didn't care what was going on. She said, they would be pushed. I mean, she said it was just very crazy that they almost seemed like they were just oblivious to what was going on. Pretty intense.
My goodness.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. So
I think that's exactly the case. Like, I don't think people were expecting to get that, but I've heard other pastors and people in ministry talk about it and say this was like a satanic ritual. This was, and Avery had sent me some Instagram posts that I misunderstood what they meant the other day, but they were from his previous concerts, and he was saying some really explicit things about wanting bodies and looking for blood, and he was quoted, and I heard his voice in an interview saying the same thing that on that video you sent me, that basically said, like, I'm creating a cult following. Right. I want blood. Is that not his words?
That was his exact words coming out of his mouth, and that's just crazy. I mean, the first night we talked about this, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt a little bit and say it was just a marketing ploy, and he didn't realize the effect that it would have on younger people. But I'm kind of changing my mind that there was a certain level of intentionality to it.
This reminds me of Lil Nas X, who I didn't know anything about Lil Nas X, but that boy Mason Ramsey who sang on that Old Town Road song. He's that yodeling boy at the Walmart. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Well, that Walmart that he yodeled at is the Walmart closest to my house.
Oh, wow.
So it's like we in rural areas, you sort of like, that's the Walmart we go to. So,
right.
So it's like he's from the same area as me. So I kind of just liked that song because it was like a local kid. And then I didn't know anything about, and I Billy Ray Cyrus, everybody like thinks about some of the songs that he sings. They're classics, some of them. So there's sort of like an affection towards it. But he came out with those shoes. Do you remember the Lil Nas X shoes he came out with?
Shoes.
They put drops of human blood in it. They were 666 of them, which is the mark of the beast number in the Bible. And he was doing something that was clearly demonic. And it's like, we celebrate this. We celebrate the demonic of Lil Nas X, and we celebrate the demonic of what's happening with Travis Scott.
Well, Juice WRLD, I don't know if you're familiar with him much, but that was kind of, when our son went through all those issues last year, it had a big part to do with Juice WRLD. And when I was reading I don't have the sound on in the back, so I'm echoing for some reason, but I don't have any sound on. But Juice WRLD, he passed away. He OD'd, I think, on the plane or getting off of the plane. And
that's literally the only thing I know about him, and I assume he did that because he was probably like going to get in trouble or something. That was my guess.
Right, that's what I think too. But when you listen to his words, he was really struggling with a crisis of faith. Like, I went through and read all his lyrics because of the things going on with Wes. And so one of the things you can see in Juice WRLD's lyrics, and hopefully there in some way, maybe he resolved it in his last minutes, but he was really going through a crisis of faith between what the music world expected from him, the rap world, and what he knew on some level to be true. And it was really hard to read his struggle knowing that he had passed away, because he was really, really struggling with his faith and what the music world, the rap world, who they expected him to be and what they supported and encouraged. It was really sad.
It's heartbreaking. What do you think about the Kyle Rittenhouse case? Have you thought much about it?
I've been listening to that too. I listened to the trial and I've been listening to a lot of the commentary. I think it's going to be a mistrial. I'm hoping it's with prejudice, because I think that if it's without, then I think it's going to start a whole new thing. But I'm just hoping if it is a mistrial, it's a mistrial with prejudice. I feel like regardless of what you think about Kyle and whether he did or did not do the right thing, the prosecution has been unethical.
Yeah.
I mean, what came out today about them, only giving part of the video and giving a compressed version. There's no way that's done on accident. I mean,
it felt like some of it was purposeful. So I don't know. I don't know what the long-term strategy is on it, but it felt like I don't want to get into it really, but you're right. And I agree with you. So thank you for your thoughts, Kim.
Okay. All right. Good night. Bye, everybody.
Have a good night. Work hard. I know you got stuff to do, so work hard on it.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, so the jury's still in deliberation on that. Sin 70 says, in the dark, we can be drawn to the light. That's what I'm praying, Sin 70, that some of the people who are in darkness are being drawn to light. Maybe the Lord will use some of us to do it. Avery says this, Travis needs to be careful. He could be the next Tupac. Some people won't tolerate what he's doing. I agree. He does need to be careful. I assume he has a bunch of bodyguards and all that too. By the way, Avery has great videos on her channel. She's just getting started, but she's doing an incredible job. And if you guys are interested into true crime, I would just encourage you to go check out her channel and see some of what she's doing there. I think you just search her name. And I posted the link before, so I think you can go to that as well if you want to, and check it out that way. Michelle says, I listened to last night's show. Sorry I missed the book release show. It's okay, Michelle. We're glad you're here now. How's that sound? And the book release show was a big deal for me. I've been working, literally, it's a lifetime of stories, but it was 6 years that I've been working on this book. And I do want to apologize about the situation that happened yesterday whenever the guy that was related to Noah, who is the missing boy, which I want to talk about in a minute, came on. And that comment just caught me off guard because I didn't understand the whole Noah situation as much. Avery had sent me some information on it, but I had a very busy day, Monday and Tuesday. In fact, I didn't even really have a free minute at all on Tuesday. And so I was behind on even being up to date on that case. And so whenever that guy sort of like called in or wrote that comment, and it just totally caught me off guard. And then I felt like bad about like talking about my book instead of talking about other things that are going on that are urgent in other people's lives. And it just hit me in the wrong place. So I just want to apologize about what happened with that. And I want to apologize if anybody mistook something that was said about Catholics. I didn't mean anything disrespectful about Catholics. I love Catholics. I've learned a lot about Catholicism and how Protestants are different and how they're the same. I would never say anything negative about Catholics. And if something I said came across that way, I do apologize. That for me, I don't know what even was said, but I've got a couple sort of comments about that. I just want to be clear. I didn't mean anything negative about Catholics. And so if I did, I apologize. Okay. I wanted to check out Brian Entin's Twitter too, because now dude's in Kenosha. This dude's everywhere. He's in Kenosha now.
This is my community. And a lot of people I know. And I have babies. So the fact that I have to worry if my town and my children can be safe is not okay. And I just wish, my hope is that everybody, if they're going to protest, which they are right now, is if they can just be peaceful, don't burn the town, don't wreck businesses. Some people can't afford. If my business is gone, I have 6 kids. I have a newborn baby. I can't, I wouldn't be able to take care of my children. And a lot of people in this area, this isn't, the wealthiest area in Kenosha. A lot of this is what we all thrive on. So it really hurts. And I know a lot of the people in this area have been really, really affected by it. This is my community. And a lot of people I know. And I have babies.
So what do you guys think about that? I agree with her. Like, hey, protest if you want to or whatever. Do not burn our buildings down. This is my livelihood. This is the livelihood of my family. If you guys come in and you guys burn these buildings down, if you guys do the worst to us, then I'm not going to be able to feed my family. That is terrible, terrible, terrible. So let's just pray for this, that they're going to be safe and secure regardless of what happens. And if I'm in Kenosha, I'm there freaking out alongside them. Here's sort of the picture of the Kenosha courthouse today. And as you can see, there's some protesters out there, not many. A couple were arrested today. The rioters end up hurting people. It's just unacceptable. We don't want that. What do you guys think about that? Like, about the peaceful protest thing. What do you guys think about that? Karen, thank you for your super chat. You say, I was just going to say, a lot of the descriptions of Travis Scott sound so much like a cult. That's the word he used. He said he's trying to build, his exact words, a cult following. A lot of the descriptions of Travis Scott sound a lot like a cult. He is so evil, it's scary. Many cults will whip up the members into that zombie-like state, which is their way to control their members. You're so right. You're so right. Charlize says, Travis is so evil. It breaks my heart that young people died and may not have known the Lord. It is so sad. I know. It's so sad to me too. That's the heartbreaking part too. Thank you so much, Karen, for that super chat. Thank you so much, Charlie, for your super chat. And also, Charlie, for your super sticker that you sent. And Susan, JB Co, for your super sticker as well that you sent. It's so sad that people would go to this concert thinking they're going to listen to some music and end up losing their life. And it turns out to be an incredibly evil place. And I'll say this. Some people say, well, they tricked him into it. Well, the devil's tricky. The devil tries to trick people into stuff. He's not, he's not putting out there, my name's the devil and my job is to steal, kill, and destroy you. That's not what he's saying. He's saying, come to this festival. There's Ferris wheels and cotton candy here. And oh, by the way, I was on a cereal box and I've been on Fortnite. This is really fun. That's what the enemy does. The devil is a liar. He's a liar. And we got to be careful. How many people are included in the $750 million lawsuit? I think it said at least 120 people right now are included in that lawsuit. Tyler, could a cult like Travis Scott encouraged be illegal on his part? If they were doing illegal things, yeah. If they're not doing illegal things, no. And I hope some of the discussion that comes out is whether or not there were illegal activities happening. The devil deceived me most of my life, and I'm only starting to realize. Got to be careful, guys. Diane, thank you for that super sticker. It means a lot. So that's sort of the up to speed on Kenosha. Sounds like a lot of you guys are wanting to talk about what's happening in Travis Scott more than the other stuff, but there's a lot to talk about there, and we need to have our eyes and ears tuned to it. Sorry, I just sneezed, but I did mute the mic before I sneezed, so you didn't have to hear it. Patty, how are you?
Hey, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing all right. It's evening here.
Or is it afternoon?
It's 10:11
it's
p.m.
evening. It's evening here too. What am I thinking? Yeah, it's almost 6 o'clock here. Yeah, how are you?
I'm all right. I thought maybe you were in Hawaii or something.
Oh, yeah, that's on the beach here, Santa Monica with my doggy. That picture there.
That's great. So what are your thoughts about all this craziness?
Well, you know what? I wanted to tell you something that I try to stay up on what's happening. And I was just shocked when I found out about the different rappers and who they were. One was killed today.
Yeah, I saw that.
His
Memphis.
name was, rapper Young Dolph was
I'd
killed
never
in
heard of
a
him.
cookie shop. Me either. But then the next story I was captivated by a rapper called Little Uzi Vert. He has a $24 million diamond carved into his head.
Oh my gosh.
And I know, it's carved in his forehead. A $24 million diamond. And what had happened was why this article made the news is a fan tried to rip it out at his last concert.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it just gets worse. I don't want to dwell on this, but one thing led to another because I didn't even know about Travis. Not really, not at all, actually. No, I never even heard his name before, Travis Scott. If I did, it didn't resonate with me. Of course, that's not the music I listen to. So, but I kept getting more news about the rap world. And
do your grandchildren play Fortnite?
Yeah, I'm going to look into that. And I don't think they do anymore. They did last year during the pandemic when we were all shut down.
Travis
down,
Scott
but
has Travis Scott has had a big sort of influence on Fortnite as well, which a lot of like 10 through 14-year-olds play.
Oh, that's scary because that's how the enemy captivates you. He gets into your mind.
Yep.
And I'm just worried about. I have 2 Bible studies with young people, and my 2 grandsons are in both the Bible studies, and we had one today. We didn't do it on Zoom. I actually had them all come over, and when I went into the garage where they were waiting for me, they were looking at some TikTok video that was saying the F word. I was like stunned. And I said, who put that on? And they pointed at each other, not my grandkids. The other kids do. There are 2 new kids that just joined the group. And he said he put it on. He admitted it. He said, but I didn't know they were going to say the F word. And they go, yes, you did. You knew it, and blah, blah, blah. He said, Grandma, do you know we hear that about 500 times a day at school?
Yeah, that's sad. How old?
My grandsons are 10 and 12. The other 2 young boys are 8, and Zion is 9.
That's terrible.
So, yeah, it's public school, and it's the public. It's the world. And when they say it in class, which one of the kids did, the teacher says, language. She said, Grandma, they always yelling out bad words when she turns her back. And she'll turn around and go, language.
What kind of world are we living in?
So, one that's going downhill, unfortunately.
There was a time where they would get a bar of soap out.
Those days are over. Those days are over. And I was talking to Alexa today because she said that I had 2 packages from Amazon. And I got excited, but one of them they weren't your book.
Oh. Well, Debbie had the book. Wasn't that crazy? That's the first person that had the book.
I saw that. I was sure. And while I was talking to Alexa, I asked her something. I sneezed, and she said, "Bless you." I said, "Wait a minute, can't you say God bless you?" "Sorry, I don't know that." I said, Isn't that? I said, "You can't say God bless me, Alexa." "Sorry, I don't know that." I said, "But Alexa, I just sneezed," and she said, "Bless you."
Oh my goodness. Somebody needs to make a Christian version of Alexa.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. I got to talk to. I heard my puppets got a hold of my phone last night. Sorry about that.
I know what was going on with
I
that.
can't leave the room for a moment. But you look well. Are you feeling well, dear?
I feel okay today. I have not been doing much, so that's good.
Okay.
And
That's
I'm in
good.
Miami,
Okay.
Florida, going to be here for about a week, and just really
Mhm.
praying that the Lord speaks to me. And
He will. He will.
got a notebook. I'm going to write some things down. I feel like the Lord might speak to me. So that's my goal. Hear from the Lord. That's it.
Amen. You will. That's a prayer that is totally in His will.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, and your thoughts on all this are important to me.
Thank you. Love you. God bless.
Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Sapphire Blue says, from part of a poem I wrote, "Beware the struggle. Evil awaits in silence, seeking opportunities to somehow take the lead. He is persevering and deceiving, observing every single breath we breathe." It's a great poem, Sapphire Blue. You're a great writer. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for your super chat. Penny says, "My grandson can't play Fortnite. Believe it or not, it was a huge trigger for his dad's PTSD. We got to be so careful." Thank you, Penny, for that super chat. And it's a good point. I'm sure it is for some people. April's so amazing. Thank you for joining the Feller fam today. You're the first one to join tonight. And I think if we get, maybe if it's 20 more people to join the Feller fam, we'll be able to get a new emoji. And we haven't been able to get a new one in a while. So I'm really happy that you joined and happy you're part of the Feller fam. And I'm really praying some more people join so we can get a new emoji around here. If you join the Feller fam, there's lots of great perks. Some of them are not even listed. Some of them are in the members section or the community section for members on my YouTube channel's page. So I would just encourage you to go see that and be a part of that if you're interested. Christian Alexa should be Elijah since 70. That's a good point. That's funny. That's a good point, actually. Choosy Heretics, Choose Carnation Revolution Now says, who needs a $24 million diamond mounted into your skull when you have a thought jewel like peaceful constitution? I don't know what that means, but you know what? I don't think anybody needs a $24 million diamond in their head. I'll say that much. Elizabeth Meyer says, I got to like soap. Loretta says, Sapphire Blue, that poem is so true. It gives me goosebumps. Redivision says, April, so amazing. Congrats. So glad you are here. Couldn't agree more. We're so glad that you're here. So glad that you are here. Marie says she's going to be joining this week. Can't wait to have you. Okay. Mickey says, anyone else finding it hard to guide these teens away from bad music? It is true. Here's why. Part of the reason why it's so hard to guide teenagers away from the bad music, it's due to TikTok. TikTok has trending songs that they turn into dances, and that's like the big function of TikTok right now. And I banned any teenager I know from being on TikTok around me. And the ones that I have any level of authority over are not allowed to be on TikTok at all. And like my little cousins, they don't know, their parents don't know much about TikTok and what they're doing on there or whatever. And so I made the rules for their families. And I just said, your kids are not allowed to be on TikTok. Made them delete it off their phones. And then I prayed with them to have it deleted out of their minds. And I think that's part of the reason. TikTok promotes some of these songs. These songs become mainstream. They do dances to them. They become trending, and a lot of them are really inappropriate songs. And it starts when they're like 10 years old. So my thoughts on that. I disagree with TikTok's stuff that they push out there personally. And I just don't want anybody I know to be on TikTok. And when I preach at youth conferences, that's what I say. I'm like, yo, get off that TikTok. That does not honor the Lord. It depletes your soul. And, youth pastors like when I say that, but kids don't necessarily. So next up, Michelle says, Tyler, do you know what's going on with Amazon reviews? I don't know what's going on with my Amazon reviews. I don't know why they're not showing up. Avery says, I only make TikToks to embarrass my kids. I have some TikToks, but I don't ever get on there. And some people post my TikToks for me. But thank you for that super chat too, Avery. I don't know. I don't ever look at the content on there. I just know what some of the content is on there. So I don't like TikTok. So Brian Entin is now deep into the Summer Wells case. And that's good because it helps alleviate some of the tension that's around Summer Wells. So let's see.
Sure what to expect. Summer Wells has been missing for 5 months. No new leads and basically no new information since the 5-year-old vanished from her Northeast Tennessee home.
I can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now.
Summer's been missing since June 15th, and there are definitely some people who are not happy that we've come here to dig into the case. Some people on social media basically just telling us to stay away. But there are still so many unanswered questions about where Summer is.
It's now been 5 months since Summer Wells disappeared. Do your investigators know anything more now than they did 5 months ago?
We really don't know anything more, but everything's still on the table.
Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson is in charge of the investigation.
Everybody that's involved in this case is a person of interest. We've not ruled anyone out.
Summer's dad, Don Wells, agreed to meet with us. We talked to him on the edge of his property where Summer disappeared.
What do you think happened? What does your heart tell you?
Well, I know in my heart and in my mind she was abducted. Someone snuck up there when we weren't exactly paying attention, and we don't know if they come in the basement and grabbed her, or if she stepped outside the basement and was walking to her swing or something.
You can see the Wells house up through the trees on the hill right here. Summer was home with her mom, Candace. Her younger brothers and her grandmother was also on the property. And what the family thinks happened is that someone took Summer, brought her down this steep embankment to possibly a car that was waiting in the roadway.
And I said, boys, where's your sister at? Well, she just went downstairs, Mom, to play. So I went over here like this.
Summer's mom, Candace, allowed podcaster Chris McDonough with the interview room into her home in July.
Is this how I would get down here?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if you want to down here or not.
They went downstairs in the cluttered house and into Summer's bedroom.
But this is where Summer and little Waylon was.
This is the back door Summer may have disappeared through.
But I know I did come out here and I said, Summer, because sometimes she'll sit right here.
Do you think Candace would speak with me?
I don't know. I mean, we had to beg her, to please go on Dr. Phil, because she's just so been burnt thousands of times by people. So that's why she don't want to talk to nobody, and she didn't want to go on Dr. Phil. That's why she was getting upset. Because of the way the YouTubers and other people have turned on her, they've just ruined her.
Very sorry for the occasion.
The Wells were on Dr. Phil last week, and at one point, Candace walked off.
I'm being interrogated again, and I don't want to do this anymore. Yes, I am.
We'll stop. I want you to feel comfortable.
No, and I want to go home.
I'm down.
Questions have come up about what Candace might know. Could she have gotten herself into a situation where it wasn't her fault, but
No.
You know what I mean?
No. She's a good mother. She loves her children. She's not going to allow any situation like that. The biggest mistake she might have made is maybe choosing some wrong friends, which is, it happens. But other than that, no way.
Do you think any of those wrong friends could have something to do with it?
We don't know.
I know you all have had some ups and downs in your past with alcohol and drugs. Do you think one of those people that came around could have?
No, we can't go there.
Wells says he's limited in what he can say after social services took Summer's 3 brothers from the home earlier this year. Would you mind just quickly maybe taking us for a little drive around? Just me,
Sure.
even just so I can. I know you don't want me up there walking around, but maybe you could just drive me around.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Sir, thank you,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You guys.
He initially agreed to take me on the property, but then changed his mind. He says he wants the focus to remain on Summer and finding whoever took her.
We love our daughter with all our hearts. We miss her. We'd do anything to have her back in that church with us that she so loves.
The sheriff says the Wells are cooperating, but that there's no evidence at this point that Summer was kidnapped or abducted. Is it possible that Summer's parents, Candace and Dawn, had something to do with this, or have you ruled that out?
We haven't ruled anything out. Everything's possible.
And right now, detectives say they are looking for a red or maroon pickup truck that may have been in the area around the time that Summer Wells went missing. But even the sheriff today said they have no confirmation that the truck was actually there. They're not even for sure it is definitely connected. There are so many pieces of this puzzle they just haven't figured out yet. But another interesting thing, Marnie, he did confirm for me today that both of Summer's parents did pass a polygraph test.
Which is something I know a lot of people have wondered. Brian, the sheriff says everything is on the table. Everyone is a person of interest. They are not ruling anything out. So one theory out there is this thing called the Cornbread Mafia that we're seeing a lot on social media. What is it? What's the sheriff saying?
So the Cornbread Mafia is sort of rumored to be this underground mafia network in this area of drug dealers and people who pass drugs around and that kind of a thing. The sheriff says he's not totally aware of it. The Wells family says they had never even heard of it. But what was interesting on Dr. Phil is when it was brought up, that is what sparked Candace Wells to have that emotional moment and walk off screen.
Avery, how are you?
Hey, am I loud or am I okay?
You sound okay to me.
Okay, because I know sometimes I'm yelling. I don't
I know
mean
you know a lot about this case. So what do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, I really this is just something that has like stuck with me from the beginning. So there's like a lot of allegations about Don Wells, the father, being a how do you say that?
Abuser,
SA.
child abuser, yeah.
Yeah. I think that somebody, probably a woman, could be from the church, could be a local, that I think somebody took her to get her away from him. And I think they didn't take the boys because I don't think he messes with boys, but I think somebody has her, and I think they think that they're saving her, but they're going to figure out that that's all wrong. But I do believe she's alive.
I think she's alive too, which is why we've got to work really hard on this, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. And there, let me tell you, like, Summer got real close with a couple of the women at the church and would hug on them and love on them. And they said that she was just craving that love. Very, very loving little girl. And I think that it would be pretty likely if they knew the living conditions and they knew, I mean, their living conditions were horrible, and then they knew about possible abuse. I think it's a very likely possibility. I think somebody just fell in love with her and wanted to rescue her. And that would mean she's alive, so I'm gonna stick with that.
I hope she's alive. I'm praying she's alive. Now some
Both
of these shows that like Dawn has called into and Candace has called into, they've said some strange things.
So I think that they both need rehab, and I don't understand why Dr. Phil didn't offer. Maybe he did offer them, and they turned it down.
Yeah,
But
I could see him doing that off camera, and then them just being like, "We're not doing anything until our daughter's found."
yeah, but they're longtime drug addicts and alcoholics. On top of it, they just don't have they just don't have good manners towards each other. I mean, they're violent towards each other. And the more and more that they call in, you just like experience what those kids were living around, what they were subjected to. And I mean, honestly, if I had a neighbor who had a little girl and I seen that kind of situation going on, and apparently CPS or DHR, I don't know what they call it in Tennessee, had been called like numerous times about the family. And then if you see nothing happening, nothing's being done, and you're worried about this little girl, I might be that one person I wouldn't kidnap her, but I would probably bring her over to my house and refuse to give her back. But the system wasn't doing anything. They were just going out and giving warnings over and over again. So
the system's broken in so many ways. From somebody who's seen it up close on numerous occasions in a variety of situations, the system is so broken.
I think the government needs to issue like auditors, just like the IRS, to go out and inspect all of these agencies like on a regular basis. But I don't know if anything like that would ever happen.
In the state where I live in, it's a matter of resources. There's such a need and there's lack of resources, and that's why it falls through the cracks. And it's so unfortunate. It's such unfortunate that there's such a need. And honestly, if the Church of Jesus Christ would stand up and each do their own part, we would eradicate some of the issues. I know a church in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, that shut down a brand new, it was like a $10 million foster care agency facility they had built to take care of the problem in Tulsa. One church decided to step up and say, hey, if half the families in our church adopted a kid or took in foster care, we would end the problem in Tulsa. And they did that, and it didn't solve the problem totally, but it solved a lot of the problem. And I just think we need to do a better job as believers, understanding that Jesus says true religion in his book is caring for widows and orphans. And in my opinion, when there's lack of just normal common decency parenting that leads to a holistic child that's mentally healthy, then that kid's orphaned in a lot of ways. And we need to do a better job of standing up for those who don't have someone to stand up for them.
It seems to me that people are all about getting into their neighbor's business when it comes to everything but suspected or possible child abuse. They just want to turn the other way. And I say, if you think a child is being abused and you've done call DHR and CPS and nothing is happening, keep going. Call legal services, call your mayor, call your governor. Like, I would keep going. But it just seems like everybody wants to turn their head away from that. I don't understand it.
It's heartbreaking.
But I do think she's alive.
I think she's alive too. I asked the question in the poll, do you think Summer Wells was abducted? And 45% of people said yes, and 55% said no. I'm going to ask another question and say, do you think Summer is alive? And I know, is that a harsh question, or you think that's okay?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I've seen other people ask it too. So, yeah.
I just want to see I know we hadn't talked. I know that like some people are saying we should not talk about this. And then it's like I steered away from it. And even you and I had a conversation about not talking about this case, partially because it was so divisive. But don't you think Brian Entin sort of jumping in on it helped leverage it in such a way that we could talk about it more peacefully?
Yeah. See, it's unfortunate because of her parents' actions. there was so many people who were not wanting to cover it for that very reason. But I think it's to the point now where we have to just look past the parents. Yeah, we know they're ignorant. We know they need rehab. We know everything about them. We just have to look past them and still just focus on Summer. You know, maybe somebody somewhere will see her picture and recognize her, and she'll be found.
What we're praying for. You have such
Well,
good insight on this.
yeah, we owe it to her, you know, because her parents aren't. They're not doing anything but just making things worse.
It's heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm. Yep, lots of mental instabilities, I think, are going on in that house. And if they do find Summer, she's not going to go back to the house.
Mm-hmm.
And see, I'm one of the I call myself dumb for doing this, but when this case first broke out, when I first learned about it, and I wasn't aware of their behaviors, and they have a page on Facebook, and it's called something helping the Wells. I'll have to go find it, but it's where people are donating money and donating their time to fix up the house and make the house, you know, child friendly. And I was like, oh, you know, these poor people, they need to, you know, they're so poor, they couldn't afford, you know, to fix their house, and they couldn't afford a staircase and this and that. And I donated $1,000 for flooring. Wow. But I noticed in videos, there's still no flooring. It's still plywood. But then I learned, you know, then I kind of started getting more time and watching and learning. And man, if I could take that back, I'm telling you, because their kids aren't coming back to that house. If I could reverse that transaction, boy. But yeah.
Well, the Lord saw your heart and he'll honor it. But yeah, there's a lot of that I feel like I'm learning. I got to be more careful of. But, you know, and sometimes too, I've learned this, people who seem like they have absolutely no money have a whole lot more money than we actually think about.
Yeah, because you know, then I started seeing videos, and they got the money to buy cigarettes and marijuana and this and that, you know, and they had me fooled.
Yeah.
So definitely deep dive into things before, you know, we just go donating.
Yeah, we got to be more careful for sure. So, well, thank you for that. And I apologize again just about what happened yesterday with Noah. I know you were talking to that family and trying to get them on, and I didn't. It was my big mess up on that. So I do apologize. That ended up being a fiasco.
I think that I think that we don't need to be so hard on ourselves about it. I just keep reminding myself that this man is in pain. You know, maybe he just had to take a little bit of it out on us because, you know, we didn't do what we were supposed to do. But in this circumstance, I'll allow it. I'll be the punching bag. You know, they're hurting. I just want them to find their child.
Yeah, I don't blame him. He's hurting, and I'm not saying that justifies his behavior. It was out of line, I feel like, but at the same time, he is somebody who's hurting, and so I'm not upset, and I totally understand it. But
yeah.
I thought it was like a case like Summers that had been going on for months, and that's my fault for not really understanding what was going on. So
yeah, sometimes you just have to message me back and tell me I have a lot going on. I can't read what you're sending me, and then I'll know, and then I can be more clear.
Yeah, or a voice memo from you that just says like, "Hey, here's the rundown." That's really helpful.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the secretary pay though.
It's coming from the Lord, probably more than from me.
I want 10 cents an hour, and
okay, I can do that.
So I can get me a $24 million diamond stuck in my head.
Encrusted in your head.
All right, you guys
Avery, thank you for calling in.
All right, I love y'all. Bye.
Hey, Diane, how are you?
Hey, you and Avery need to cut yourself some slack. That kid he'd been missing for 11 days. His father had joint custody and just didn't bring him back. And the state of Tennessee didn't even announce it for 10 of those days. So it just came out really yesterday. So, it's not like you've got 14 secretaries, watching the news and scanning for these, these breaking cases. And
That's
when
true.
I first saw it, I thought, the dad's having a hard time letting him go. Then somebody did some more research and found out that the 16-year-old niece had actually run away in the middle of the night and left a note to her parents that she was leaving with this guy. So who knows, but it's, if the news channels and if the state of Tennessee doesn't break it for 11 days, we can't be expected to do it 45 minutes after it hits the Amber Alert. So, don't feel too bad about it. I mean, I know the uncle is upset, but he could have told us 11 days ago too. So,
And I didn't know anything about it.
Some slack.
That was the first I had really heard about the case. And by the way, I'm wearing a Don't Stop shirt. I don't know if you saw it. I don't know if I wore this shirt on here yet, but
they look really soft.
It is. It's really soft. Actually, on this particular shirt, I moved the design up because it printed and I was like, oh, that's kind of low. And it's already higher on all the other designs. So I don't know what happened. So anyways, this is one of the only ones that has a low design, but they're moved up now.
Well,
but anyways.
I typed in a message that I wanted you to ask Avery what she thought about, Chris from the interview room. He had interviewed a 15-year-old boy who was picked up in the morning, the day Summer went missing, picked up by Candace, and they were going to get the grandmother. She'd gone to the doctor or something. So she picked him up, and Summer was in the car. And over the course of the day, she went to buy some marijuana. She went to a store and bought him some liquor. She went and bought cigarettes. Then she went to another marijuana place. I don't know. It was called the Happy Hippie or something. And she kept getting text messages. And so one of the times he said his phone looked just like hers. So he put his phone next to hers. And when she got out of the car, she grabbed his phone and he looked at the messages. And she had 39 messages from her drug dealer. And she had been answering them, and he swore to Chris that her final reply that afternoon was, "It's done."
Wow.
So I think she traded. I mean, why did they cut off Summer's hair to look like a boy? They reported her,
They
missing.
said lice or something, right?
Oh, I didn't even see a reason.
That's what I had heard.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's other ways to treat it, but
yeah, there's a lot of other ways to treat it
than shave their heads.
Yeah,
But
you're
yeah,
right.
they had taken her to a swimming hole that was not supposed to be a swimming hole. And so the kid, he was saying, I really shouldn't say because it's down by the horses and we're not supposed to go swimming there. So then I thought, well, that's pretty bad that, it could be horse waste or whatever that they were swimming in. But then, and the thing about them doing yard work, and first she says 2 minutes later, then she says 10 minutes later, she goes looking for the kid. Well, I've got 4 kids and 6 grandkids. If they're going in the house to play, I don't check on them in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Not at that age with all the other kids in the house.
Yeah.
There's just too much fishy. And I'm sorry to say it, but my gut feeling tells me the mother traded her for drugs.
I hope that's not true, but
that is really
it's a possibility.
My fear. And one of the interviews with the mother, she was either drunk or high. She couldn't focus. Her eyes were just all over the place.
Oh my goodness.
And it was just super upsetting. But I wanted to know what Avery thought about, because I think the first time I really heard anything about it was Avery had said something like, "Do you think we ought to cover this?" She had asked me. so I went and looked at it, and I thought, well, it could get into SA, and do we want to be talking about that on this channel? And so at first, I was with you hanging back, and then after I watched the interview room with I don't remember the man's name, but Chris is his first name. I was really torn by it. So, but I wanted to know if I'm sure she's seen that one and what she thought about the boy's credibility. So, but I won't keep you 29 minutes tonight. People are going to just stop coming if we did. So.
Everybody loves it when you call in, Diane. Thank you so much for your support.
Enjoy the beach, okay?
Thank you for encouraging me. Thank you for believing in the ministry that the Lord's doing through this channel. You mean a lot to me, and I appreciate you calling in.
Thanks, Tyler. Love you so much.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Karen says the media coverage of the Wells case takes me back to John and Patsy Ramsey. The cases are totally different, but the roles of the parents are crazy. I've studied that Ramsey case in depth, and it is wild as well. Hey, Patricia, how are you?
Well, hi, Tyler. I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Well, we've got quite a few topics tonight, and I was kind of making mental note as you were bringing up the various pictures and news reports and videos, and I thought, wow, where will we start? So I just thought maybe I'll just do something quick on a few of them, if that's okay. I was thinking that, can you hear me all right, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. I was thinking about with Travis Scott and Kylie Jenner, and I really was looking at what your attitude was toward the Travis Scott situation, and I really feel your heart that Travis and Kylie both need they need ministering, they need counseling, they need deliverance.
Let me tell you a story about Kylie Jenner and that whole situation that a lot of people don't know. I know this from first person. There's a powerful church in Southern California that whenever Bruce Jenner and what's his husband, when they were married, what's her name? Kylie's mom's name?
Let's see, they all start with Chris.
Okay. When they were married and they were in Southern California, this guy started a church like in a movie theater, and they started going to it. And they were actually the ones who funded the church for like the first 2 years. And the youth group for 2 years met at the house. And Kylie and what's her sister's name? I don't know their names.
There's Kim, Kylie, and Chloe.
Whatever the younger two names are. They literally had the youth group for years at their house every week. And the youth pastor came, and it's a legit church now that's doing a lot of really impactful ministry. And it was the Jenner family that paid for it, that started it, that were leaders in it, that did all of it in their yard and at their house. And so it's like, and it's not some washed down version of some, version to try to get people together. It's like a church that the Lord was using powerfully. And so when we talk about their faith backgrounds, I don't know anything about Travis Scott's faith background. I know as a fact that this Jenner girl has a deep faith background. And, Kim, to a lot of degree, has come into faith. There's a church in Miami, which is where I'm at, called VU Church, that her and Kanye was a big part of for years. And the pastor there, Rich Wilkerson Jr., did their service, did their wedding. And so they're not strangers to faith at all. I don't know about Travis Scott. And that makes it even more alarming to me. It's like they know.
Well, and that makes me think, when people are so committed like that they're having gatherings in their own personal home, and they're funding the churches, for outreach and ministry. This is my personal thought. When people rise up like that, and they've been in the midst, and I believe that that they really were hungering and thirsting for a real relationship with the Lord. The enemy will come in and will bring things that can tempt people to stray off. And there's a multitude of things that the enemy uses, and perhaps that may be part of it. Somebody or something may have happened with the nucleus of that family, and I can think of a few things I won't mention, but the nucleus of the family kind of, even though they're very close and they had their TV show and everything, in the nucleus of the family, I could see things starting to dismantle. And it can affect everybody in the family emotionally. Many times people will try to bury that hurt, that chaos, the crisis of their emotions going on, and bury it in like a business, in whatever their careers are, their entertainment. People try to escape. And so perhaps that might be part of it. They got, busy in other directions. Maybe I don't know, maybe they didn't reveal their real true feelings of things that were really causing them emotional distress. It can happen to the rich, the poor, and everybody in between. And they may be embarrassed even to say anything. They're so committed and involved. Sometimes people hold it back. They won't discuss family crises. They don't want to, have people think possibly less of them, or that, oh, you're so perfect. You have all the money. You have all the fame. People don't want the world to know, anybody to know, that they really are suffering. They're having some issues and they don't want to tell people. And I've done church counseling, so I've found that sometimes that happens. They're looked up to. They're really appreciated. They've been awarded, many things. And to admit that you have a problem somewhere deep in your life personally, they don't want people to know. And so they don't discuss it. And if they're going further and further away from that core church group, and they're not going to admit there's maybe a problem, they'll go off into other areas where they feel that they can escape, where they can build on their self-worth, and so that might be what happened. I don't know how the relationship started between Travis and Kylie. I haven't really done the background on that, but what I am thinking is that there must have been something mutual that drew them together, and they built on that. And I don't know Travis's background spiritually, but going back to what I said to you at the beginning, I really believe they need somebody that can really, maybe even privately, minister to them, counsel them, and bring some deliverance toward them. So that's my thought on Travis Scott. And then there's other things that you're talking about tonight. I don't want to take up too much time. Just let me know if I need to cut.
Give me just your brief thought on what you think about Summer Wells.
Summer Wells, I really have looked into that. I found it very odd that with all of the dogs that they have on the property, there was at least 7, some people have said 12, that somebody that was not known by those dogs would just come up and take Summer. I think that someone came on the property or was already on the property that was known, and that they took her. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know if they're good or bad, but the fact that those dogs were not going crazy, on the property with some stranger walking up. I'm thinking that it was somebody familiar. And I don't know that the mom or dad or anybody really knows who did it. They may suspect, but they're not saying.
Well, that's a good perspective.
Well, and then just if I could just talk about one more thing. I was on the Feller Fam. I got too many words here with the letter F. The Feller Fam today, and Diane had put out something about Noah Clare. And so I hadn't heard of it either. And I was on the chat last night and I saw what happened. And I thought, I just really prayed about it. And I thought, I'm going to look this up. I want to find out and do a little research. So I did Google searches and I found some interesting things. And I noticed that Diane on the call here a little while ago had mentioned a few things that I had seen, because I went back in and she had some questions and I posted some things that I had found out. And so I looked into it, and this father, his name is Jake. He's the one who ran off with Noah. He ran off with his niece, Amber, and she went willingly. But the car that they were driving was found in San Clemente, California, quite a ways away. And so there was also a video that a concerned observer had taken pictures about a guy that looked exactly like this Jake Clare. And she described him. The vehicle that he was getting into was totally different than the one that was left in California. So the thought was that perhaps he somehow got a hold of another vehicle and that he's using that. So there's much to follow up about. I did look up on Facebook the different family members that are there, and my heart just breaks for them, because I'm seeing, what they're going through, and they're just diligent in trying to get anybody to help spread the word. And so, I'm going to dig more into it. I know Avery said that she's been following it close, so I'm going to maybe check out her videos on YouTube as well. But I really feel like this has just happened within the past couple of weeks. There's still a good chance, hopefully, that Noah and the niece, Amber, can be found and they can be returned safely.
I hope so, for sure. Thank you, Patricia, for calling in.
Well, thank you, Tyler. Enjoy Miami.
I'm going to try.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Karen, thank you so much for that super sticker. It means a lot to have your support. I just want to say I love all the Feller fam. You guys are so amazing. It's a privilege to be a part of it with you. I know it is my name. That seems kind of weird to me, honestly. But so, for some reason we're using my name. However, I'll just say this. I feel so blessed to be part of this community with all of you. Here's the rundown of Noah's situation. There he is. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is releasing more information around the circumstances surrounding the Amber Alert. So it started November 6th. And there you can see some photos. The next day, Noah's mom applied for an emergency motion to suspend parenting time. Police secured a warrant against Jacob for custodial interference, and an endangered child alert was issued. That alert was upgraded to an Amber Alert on November 16th, when additional charge of aggravated kidnapping was issued against Jacob Clare. Missing, Gallatin, Tennessee, which is just north of Nashville. Age 3 years old. Info, believed to be traveling with Jacob, wanted for aggravated kidnapping. And there's a picture of the car, which they found today. Noah's cousin and Jacob's niece, Amber, 16, of Beaver Dam, Kentucky, is believed to be with him as well. And by the way, I'll say this. I was a school teacher, and I talked about that some before. Before I was in ministry full-time, I was a volunteer youth pastor, and I was a school teacher. And we had a situation. It was a teenager, or, well, I guess like a 12-year-old, very similar to this one that took place, where the dad took off with it. I need to learn more about this. But let's keep our eyes open and our hearts open. And let's, use our collective power to figure out what we can on this. Okay. So let me pray for you. And I'm going to get off here because I'm in Miami. The internet does seem to have stabilized, though. So that's good. And there was an earthquake in Missouri. My family in Missouri has been texting me saying, yo, there's an earthquake. There's an earthquake. So I don't think it was bad. It was like a 4.0. I'm sure it scared some people. So let me pray. Father, thank you for everybody that's on here tonight. I bless them with your grace, your power, your mercy, and every missing kid. We pray for Summer. We pray for Noah. Every single missing kid, it's important to you. I pray you give us knowledge and wisdom about how to find those. Lord, I pray for peace in Kenosha. And Lord, I pray for your justice with Travis Scott. Thank you, Jesus, to be the one that we can call on. We love you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. Thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Be with us tomorrow. I'll be back on here every night. I'll be back tomorrow.